Friends, greetings. Well, here it goes as expected. Donald Trump, our favorite master of bright headlines and tweets, has issued an ultimatum. Do you want to live without new tariffs? Then buy our oil and gas. Europe, of course, may try to object, but in this game, the rules are dictated only by the states, and Trump has made this very clear. It's as clear as on an advertising sign. Either our way or no way. What did you think? There will be diplomacy? Oh no. Friends, this is just the beginning. Trump, as always, was not slow to make a statement. He decided to play big, and his plans include lifting the ban on leasing offshore oil and gas fields, as well as a complete rejection of all the restrictions that Biden so carefully imposed on the opening of new plants for the export of liquefied natural gas. And what did he say about it? Here is his quote. "We are going to make a lot of money in the energy sector. We have more of it than anyone else. We're going to drill and drill, baby." Just imagine the picture. Donald is wearing a hard hat, holding a drilling rig and shouting, "America will be great again." This is, of course, a moment worthy of applause. And who goes into the arena against him? And here she is, the indomitable Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, who seems to have decided to throw the gauntlet right in the face of the new American administration. Ursula was very decisive in her speech. In Davos, without any hints, she stated that Europe had entered an era of fierce competition. But here's the fun part. Despite all this tension, she assures that Europe remains open for business anyway, and not only with traditional partners, but also with those who usually sit at the children's table, with China and India. That's a twist, you might say. And I will say, no, this is a 180-degree turn with a spectacular drift. It's just breathtaking. Commenting on further relations between Europe and the United States, the head of the European Commission stressed, "Our main priority will be early interaction, discussion of common interests, and willingness to negotiate. We will be pragmatic, but we will always adhere to our principles. Protecting our interests and upholding our values is the European way. We will need to work together to avoid a global race for survival," she added. But Ursula didn't stop there. She said that Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement is humanity's last hope. Europe will go its own way, save the planet, even if it means sinking a ship called friendship with the United States. And she announced all this at a meeting of the world's elite, where all the participants so like to consider themselves the arbiters of the fate of the world, with a glass of champagne in one hand and applause in the other. But Trump did not limit himself to withdrawing from the climate agreement. He also left a special message for the World Health Organization. "Bye-bye, baby." As Trump himself put it, "It's just common sense." Ursula hinted in response that expect a new round of sanctions, duties, and strict export controls. According to her, Europe must urgently change its tactics in order not to end up in the position of a poor relative. Well, the show is just beginning, friends. Get out the popcorn, it's going to be even more fun. And now let's move on to the most exciting part, the confrontation between the European Commission and Donald Trump. Ursula von der Leyen, our Iron Lady, and Donald Trump, the main showman of world politics, came face to face. But, friends, this is not just a battle for oil, gas, or climate. It's a duel of ambition and ego. Well, friends, hold on to the chair. The new season of the international TV series, The European Commission Against Donald Trump, begins. Starring Ursula von der Leyen as a stoic but slightly nervous European woman and Donald Trump, a showman with an oil drilling rig. A new tactic is on the way, and as they say, the most interesting is yet to come. No one tried to keep their back straight, deflection was a trend. And so Trump apparently expects that to be the case. After all, he has already declared to the whole world, "America first." Well, what kind of questions can there be? And now fast forward to Germany. They're worried as usual. The Minister of Economy and Climate, Robert Habeck, an ardent supporter of green ideas, does not hide his indignation. He said that the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement is not just a fatal signal, but a historic failure for Germany, Europe, and the world as a whole. But as they say, every challenge has its own answer. Habeck has a plan. Let America cook in its own cauldron, and we will move green technologies forward. This includes the development of wind and solar energy, the creation of energy-efficient infrastructure, and the introduction of new standards to reduce the carbon footprint. They have movies, we have our own blockbusters. And apparently, Germany is ready to direct this film. But wait, that's not all. The German Minister of Health, Karl Lauterbach, also decided to insert his word. He called the U.S. withdrawal from the World Health Organization a serious blow to the international fight against global crises. Now imagine Joe Biden paying $500 million to this organization so that Tedros and the company could work quietly. But Trump waved his hand and closed the wallet. That's it, guys, the shop is closed. So, friends, keep your back straight and get ready for a new round of events. Possible new sanctions, sharp political statements, and unpredictable steps by both sides. I am sure this show will not leave anyone indifferent. Europe is trying to find its way. America is doing everything its own way again. And we will be watching this circus from the front rows. And believe me, it's only going to get hotter. Well, friends, are you ready for another batch of political thriller? On the day of Trump's inauguration, French President Emmanuel Macron decided to make a loud statement about himself. According to him, Europe must wake up and urgently increase defense spending in order to finally get rid of dependence on the United States in security matters. What if American ships suddenly leave the Mediterranean? What will we do then? And if they decide to send their fighters from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, where will Europe end up? Macron asked such questions in front of the French military. But somehow he didn't answer them. Instead, he added worriedly, "Who would have thought that Greenland would suddenly become the epicenter of strategic disputes? But she already has. So get ready, gentlemen. Macron has clearly sent a message. Europe must be ready for everything, not just to observe what is happening." These words of Macron make you think. Does Europe really rely on the United States so much in defense matters that any change in American policy can leave it in a strategic vacuum? The issue remains open, and the French leader is clearly calling for a review of the current approach. But I wonder if there are forces in Europe itself that are ready for such changes. This will be seen in the following actions. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Atlantic, Donald Trump is not wasting his time. Even before he settled into the presidency, he loudly announced plans to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada from February 1st. That's it, guys, pay up. And after the inauguration, he immediately ordered the shutdown of the border crossing application, which allowed migrants to legally enter the United States and obtain a work permit. At least 1 million people managed to use it, but now, as they say, all records of crossing at checkpoints have been canceled. And the Customs Service's website says, "Sorry, the app is no longer available." So much for Trump, who keeps his promise. Yes, the migrants are shocked, of course, but Trump goes further. He sent soldiers to the southern border to repel a catastrophic invasion. That's how he put it. Trump, in his manner, acts harshly without semitones. His supporters call it an effective approach to restoring order, while critics shout about human rights violations and a humanitarian catastrophe. But as Trump's story shows, criticism doesn't particularly bother him. He is clearly determined to pursue his line to the end, even if it causes international conflicts. On the other hand, his actions demonstrate how quickly political rhetoric can turn into real steps with far-reaching consequences. And now we are moving to the virtual space, where another scandal is breaking out in the vastness of social networks, including the platform of Elon Musk. A video of Musk himself flashed last night. In the video, he puts his hand on his heart, then throws it up, and this moment immediately went viral. Criticism, outrage, and humor are all in the best traditions. Musk, as always, did not remain silent and said that this was just the beginning of a campaign of dirty tricks from Democrats unhappy with his transition to the Republican camp. Now they will play against him. The hint is clear. It's time to stop fawning over those who have already lost and straighten your back. Musk's gesture has become the reason for many memes, and political analysts are already building theories about how his defection to the Republicans will affect business and relations with the authorities. Some believe that Musk risks antagonizing the largest media and financial structures, while others, on the contrary, see him as a new leader capable of uniting political and economic elites to confront each other. One thing is for sure, this person knows how to be the center of attention and attract millions of glances. And what is behind these events? Macron is calling for Europe's defense independence. Trump is building a tough migration policy, and Musk is stoking debate on social media. All of this looks like separate chapters of a big novel about global change. Each of these stories resonates with different groups of people, from activists and politicians to ordinary users of social networks. But the main thing that unites them all is the feeling of change and the unknown that awaits us. At the moment, it is known that the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, is seeking to arrange a meeting with the US president-elect after his inauguration. This was stated by the official representative at a press conference in Brussels. But Ursula von der Leyen faced complete disregard from Donald Trump. There are no scheduled meetings at the moment. Attempts are being made to agree on a date for the meeting as soon as possible, but there is no specific time or place for it yet, said a representative of the Commission. It should be noted that Donald Trump himself first of all wanted to meet with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. He asked his assistants to arrange a telephone conversation with the president of the Russian Federation. Trump also stressed that in the first 100 days of his presidency he wants to visit Beijing, where he hopes to discuss relations between the two countries with the Chinese leader. I also want to remind you that the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, did not attend the inauguration ceremony of the newly elected President of the United States, Donald Trump, scheduled for January 20th. The reason is that she did not receive an invitation from the White House. The new U.S. leader's attitude towards European allies remains ambiguous. According to experts, surprises may be prepared for the European community, which are unlikely to be pleasant. Irish journalist Che Bowes believes that the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who wrote that she was looking forward to working with the administration of the new U.S. President, Donald Trump, actually despises the head of the White House. This is the true love between politicians. Someone ignores, and someone despises. Well, my dears, we're watching further. The intrigue is spinning, the stakes are rising, and as always, we have a lot of interesting things waiting for us. And now I would like to express my opinion. Let's not forget that this is all a global thriller scenario, where each of the participants is trying to declare their place in the world louder than the rest. But do you know what particularly catches my eye? It is an absolutely pathetic sight when Europe, seemingly shouting about its independence, in fact remains in the pose of an eternal supplicant. Ursula von der Leyen shouts out loud statements about the struggle for the planet. But where are the real steps? Verbal artillery, followed by emptiness. Europe, wake up, otherwise you will really turn out to be that poor relative who is watching others play the global game. But Trump is a completely different song. He masterfully captures the spotlight, bursting into the political scene like a real showman. The introduction of tariffs, withdrawal from agreements, the most severe measures at the border. All this is not just politics. It is a personal reality show. Donald rules. He doesn't care about the world's criticism, and to be honest, I admire and frighten at the same time. The energy he puts into breaking the foundations is amazing. But there are clearly long-term consequences behind this show, which everyone will remember and talk about decades from now. And finally, Musk. His entry into the political arena is like a new season of a TV series where a character suddenly appears, ready to rewrite all the rules of the game. Does he know how to surprise? Definitely. But are his ambitions as good as he's trying to show? Musk's role as a new leader, who is supposedly challenging the establishment, is ridiculous and cynical. There is clearly a cold calculation behind all this. And let's be honest, his gestures and statements are not a struggle for justice, but another cunning move by a billionaire who is used to always being on the winning side. Friends, I want to thank you for your attention and ask you to write your opinion about the material. It is very important to me. I wish you good health and success. See you later.